Do you ever feel like life has just handed you a degree in chaos? Like every setback, every struggle, and every failure is just another brutal lecture in the real university. The one where tuition is paid in tears, failures, and sleepless nights. Where your toughest lessons don't come from textbooks, but from life itself. A couple months ago, I was speaking with one of my mentors, and I was telling him a list of the things that I was really struggling with and trying to overcome at the time. I was really battling fights on sort of all fronts, and he basically looked at me and laughed. And I was like, what the fuck are you laughing about? I literally just told you all of these things I'm dealing with, and you're meant to be helping me and you're laughing at me. And he said, Gwethan, the fact that you're facing all of this stuff and you're dealing with all of these struggles and challenges shows that you're on the path. You're on the path towards greatness. And I was a bit confused. I was like, what do you mean by that? And he went on to tell me about this thing called Business University, where essentially shit goes wrong and you learn. He said, speak to anyone that's had any amount of success, and they will tell you that you have to lose money to make money. You have to lose to win. You have to feel pain before you feel pleasure. And that really resonated with me. And it kind of gave me a bit of light at the end of the tunnel, because when you're just facing so much bullshit and dealing with so much in your day-to-day life, it's often difficult to see an end to it, and that kind of really inspired me and really made me embrace all of the hardship in my life and all of the struggles and things that I was really, really testing myself to deal with. I don't believe that there's anything that I can't overcome and anything that would genuinely knock me down. And especially now after that conversation, I realized that all of these things are thrown into our lives to test us and to force us to grow, because ultimately, if you want to get to the next step, you have to be the evolved version of yourself that's capable of getting to that next step. And you can only grow and you can only develop into that evolved version of yourself by dealing with hardship and challenges. And yeah, so that really changed my perspective. A perfect example of this was when I first moved to Amsterdam. So when I originally went to uni in Bristol, I moved there with a group of my friends at the time who I no longer speak with, but it meant that I didn't have to socialize necessarily. I didn't have to put myself out of my comfort zone and step into the unknown and meet loads of people, because I was sort of in this bubble of familiarity, and while I felt like that was amazing at the time, I look back and I realized that that was the worst possible thing I could have done for a whole load of reasons, but specifically because it meant that I didn't push myself out of my comfort zone socially. So then when I moved to Amsterdam, I kind of realized, hang on a minute, I haven't had to actually meet people for the last few years. I've kind of already had this safety net, and that really forced me to evolve. That was one of my biggest lessons. I felt as if I had to wait for people to come to me to introduce themselves, and that's how it would naturally grow. But that's not what happened at all. That actually got me nowhere. I didn't meet anyone from that, and I felt like I was an outcast or people didn't want to speak to me. But then I sort of realized that actually everybody's in the same boat. Everybody's waiting for each other to come and speak to them. But the thing is, because I hadn't gone through the struggle before, this was completely alien to me. So it took me a while to figure this out. And after I figured this out, then I started meeting loads of people in my life, started rapidly evolving. I realized that if you want to build a connection with somebody, you have to put yourself out there and you have to take a step forward. You can't just wait for them to come to you, because that's not going to happen. So that's like a whole other lesson in of itself, but that's sort of one huge struggle that at the time was just hugely impacting me, because I was spending a lot of time alone. I felt like I didn't have any friends, but that struggle has really enabled me to meet people and build relationships and connections with people. And I feel like if I didn't have that opportunity, let's just say, then I probably wouldn't be as social and as great at meeting people as I am today. Another example of this was when I first started this business. I brought a lot of people on board, a lot of my friends that I really wanted to build with and to grow with, and it didn't work out. And it didn't work out because I wasn't clear with the boundaries that I was setting. I wasn't clear in my leadership roles. I wasn't communicating effectively with them. And ultimately it led to it breaking down, and I had to let go of those people. And I love them to pieces. I can't fault them at all. Their work was amazing. But what I realized looking back was where it went all wrong was, as I said, I didn't lay boundaries. I didn't communicate effectively. I just sort of figured they all knew what was in my head. And yeah, I just didn't communicate my path and my visions effectively. And eventually it just broke down and collapsed. At that time, I felt awful. I felt like I was losing my best friends, and the whole business was falling to the ground. And I was really uncertain about the direction of the company and the future and what it was going to hold. And now moving forward, I've grown so much as a leader and just an individual in general, because I understand the importance of setting boundaries of communication and how to direct people without micromanaging. So while it was extremely difficult letting go of those people, because like I said, I love them to pieces. And they were amazing people work wise as well. It was extremely difficult letting them go. But the outcome of that meant that I grew so much as a leader because I learned exactly what not to do. The whole point of business university and the life university and shit happens and you grow is undesirable situations happen, right? And you learn from that. That's the whole point. So even if you find yourself caught up with your best friends and it's not working out, or anything that isn't working out the way you thought it would, just almost be grateful for that, because it's another opportunity for you to learn and to grow. What this whole video is trying to say is just embrace struggle, honestly. Just view it as a challenge, as a test for you to grow, because ultimately that's the only way you're going to be able to get through things. Especially if you're an entrepreneur or you're a musician, shit's hard. Life's not easy. It's difficult, but if you can just embrace these struggles and these challenges and move from them and grow from them, you will do amazingly well in life, because at the end of the day, you're constantly shedding your skin and you're constantly growing yourself from a weaker to a stronger version of your current self, if that makes sense. So yeah, just embrace shit that's hard, honestly, because that's the only way you'll move forward. I don't think you ever truly graduate from business university. Life doesn't necessarily get more difficult, I wouldn't say, but it also doesn't necessarily get easier. Say you've got weight on your shoulders. It doesn't get easier. The weight doesn't get lighter. Your shoulders just get broader. You become stronger and more capable of carrying this weight. And as you evolve and as you grow and as you develop, you're just going to have different problems. You're going to have different scenarios. The challenges that you face in your early 20s, right now they feel like they're earth shattering, but when you're in your 30s 40s facing even bigger challenges, you'll look at them like they're nothing. So yeah, I think the art of just any level of success, especially as a creative person, is to just embrace it. And I know it's easier said than done, but just embrace it. Lean on your support network, join online communities. I've actually got a free community called Hendrik Community. The link is in the bio. We're building sort of a music business crash course, and we'll also be hosting live seminars every week. And it's just a solid opportunity to meet people and network with people. And the idea of this community is that it's a community of creatives and people in the music industry that are there to actually support each other. If you're struggling and you've got really specific problems that you find that the people around you might not necessarily relate to, you can come to this community, and in there your problems will be solved. They will be answered by people who have gone through the exact same issue as you. So never feel like you're alone. You've always got people around you, and if you feel like you don't have people around you, there's always places to look. Do not sleep on the power of online communities, because I've been there feeling really just paralyzed almost and overwhelmed by the shit that I was going through, but just having these online communities of people similar to me there to support me was just a huge game changer. So if you're interested, the link is in the description. Hendrik Community, it's free. We're going to be launching at 20 members, and it will be extremely valuable, I can promise you. My name's Gwethan. I'm the founder of Hendrik, and the mission with this YouTube channel is to spread wisdom to improve lives. I'll see you in the next one.